fifth Sunday of Lent, the last Sunday that we really hear these stories, we hear about Lazarus and his sisters. And Jesus comes after he's dead. What is that about for us today?
Well, I guess it's the final reminder to anyone who is getting ready to be baptized that humanity means that we're going to be dead one day. But that's not the end. The death of Lazarus was difficult for his sisters. It was difficult for Jesus. It's the only place that if I recall, where the scripture says that Jesus cried. That's how close a friend he was to this family. And he didn't come to save them. Why did he not come to save them? Well, because the whole point of this was to perhaps remind us that salvation isn't so much avoiding death or avoiding sickness or avoiding pain, but real salvation is how we live through it and come out of it the other side in a new way. Jesus says in that gospel that the time has come for the glory of God to be manifested. And how is the glory of God being manifested? Well, St. Irenaeus says, by a human being fully alive. Well, being fully alive doesn't mean just walking around the face of the earth breathing. Being fully alive means letting go all of those things that are killing you. All of those things that are sources of non-life. How many people are walking around right now entombed, if we can use the language of that gospel, entombed in those things that are sapping everything out of them? Whether that's obsession with success, or whether that's trying to become a millionaire, or whether that's looking for the ultimate experience of joy and not finding it. Whatever it is, there's so many things that are holding us back and taking purpose and meaning out of our existence. Jesus, in raising his friend to life, is raising him up to a new life. Lazarus didn't come back to be what he was before. He was transformed into something else. I suppose he must have been the first guy to be truly surprised by what happened to him. Because, here he was in the tomb, dead 3 days, and as the gospel says, yam fated. That means he has started to decompose. So he's really dead. And how many of us find ourselves in situations where we're really dead? And we stink. And Christ comes along and takes us out of this. That's what baptism is supposed to be doing. That's why it says we die with Christ. We are plunged into the water. We go into the tomb, the darkness. The idea of going into the water, for me personally, it scares the hell out of me because I'm afraid of water. I can't swim. I have no control over it. And I have to go through this imagery and trust that this person is going to take me out of it and bring me into something totally new that I can't even imagine. I suppose, if I can imagine it a little bit, it's a little bit like a baby that's going to be born. He's in a particular kind of world, and maybe probably quite comfortable in that context, and then all of a sudden he has to go through this painful, traumatic experience of entering this world. It leaves you kind of affected the rest of your life, doesn't it? But the consequence is that if you don't do that, you don't live. And so we have to somehow allow ourselves to be born again into a whole new way of life, which is what Jesus offers us. Baptism is the experience of that. And I keep insisting on the word experience because if we don't translate baptism into our personal journey and our personal experience, then we're just using words. And I would hope that this particular Lent, all of us can make the connections between what the sacrament is, the sign, and the reality behind the sign is as we're living it, each one of us, in our personal lives. Because that's the revitalization of the sacraments. That's what the new evangelization that Pope Benedict has asked us to embark on is about. That's when all of us can say, this is really good news. This is gospel. This is what we're all about. And we're going to live accordingly.